You may have seen me top 8 last week with Doomsday Tinker. You're going to be seeing some more of that. Let's keep working on it. It does feel like pilot error is something that we need to minimize, so practice makes perfect. Here's another challenge. Okay, welcome back, vintage players. We continue to learn and prosper in the Doomsday life. So far this deck has placed 10th and 8th for me in vintage challenges, and hopefully we can continue that today. It felt like a lot of the times when I lose with this deck, it's me making some kind of pilot error, and so we're going to try to eliminate as much pilot error as we can today. I have had some, recent conversations inside of the Discord about the deck, and I do feel like people are taking the deck and not playing it the way I would intended it to be played. My evaluation is that tinkering for a Citadel is more likely going to win you the game than doomsdaying, and it should be your primary game plan whenever you can make it happen. Obviously, there's a reason that Tinker is restricted and Doomsday is not. I believe this to be the single best Bolas' Citadel deck I've ever created. It is extremely, extremely efficient at winning with Citadel. And so your demonics, vampirics, and mysticals, whenever possible, should be looking to tinker into a Citadel. Another weird upside of the deck is that when you tinker, you have to sacrifice an artifact, and that can be pretty backbreaking for a deck like Pio, where you need your artifacts to continue with your game plan. But for this deck, where the off-color Moxen are not a huge part of the game plans, your secondary or your maybe equal plan B, it's actually not really a problem at all if you lose your Pearl, your Ruby, your Emerald, those kind of things. A lot of your sequencing will end up being, tutor for Tinker, cast Tinker, try to resolve it. If that doesn't happen, then untap and then try to Doomsday. In the sense that Tinker is a faster and more cohesive combo plan, I think the deck is faster, but obviously if you're trying to specifically do Doomsday things, losing out on Street Wraith does make you more likely to have to do a pass the turn pile. Though that being said, if you have a Sensei stop and play, that does, from your earlier turn 1, that does kind of minimize that. But like I said, it is a slower at doing, it does have less turn 1 Doomsday kills, which I think is more than made up for in the fact that you have Tinker Citadel in your deck. So any changes to this list? I think I put a dig through time in the deck, just another option off of Merchant of Scroll, another blue spell. And then I have a dress down in the sideboard just to help a little bit with problematic creatures. So we're going to just jump into round 1 and try to continue our hot streak. If you'd like to see your deck played on this channel, check out the Patreon link in the description below, where you can find all the information you need to submit a donation deck list. Let's battle. Round 1, Vintage Challenge. I expect this Vintage Challenge to be small. It wasn't. It's actually 58 players. Interesting. I figured with a bunch of players at the Pro Tour, less Magic Online grinders, that this would be a smaller challenge, but that does not seem to be the case. Oh, interesting. I was wondering. I guess they're not qualified for a Pro Tour. Interesting. Okay. Yes, I'd like to play first. Thank you for asking. Opponent looks like they're going to reveal a companion because, yes, so there's a Lurrus in our opponent's deck. We've got a very quick and easy turn 1 Necro. Okay. Necro is a card that I had cut from the initial build and added back in following builds. I do believe I may have been slightly less optimistic about Necro, slightly less optimistic than I should have been about Necro. It does feel like a lot of times when I lose with Necro, it's because I made an incorrect decision. That being said, this deck is a worse Necro deck than Doomsday because you're playing less free counter spells. So, but it's still, still a powerful play. So, I actually think I'm not going to play this jet just because we're currently in a main deck Mind Break Trap meta. There's no reason to get my Necro countered by Mind Break Trap for no reason. That being said, should I have fetched? Maybe not. We got Mental Misstep. Seems like a quite free use of our Mental Misstep. This obviously does run us into the Mind Break Trap life, but all right, Necropotence. So now this gets negation is a little annoying because it's not going to go in my graveyard, which puts me farther from dig through time. I don't know. This is my bigger problem with adding dig through time into the deck. It just feels like without the Street Wraiths and Preordains at max 4 of, that you're just not going to be able to cast this as much as I would like. If that continues to be the case throughout the day, I'm just going to cut it again. But I know that Crazy Diamond was like pretty insistent that we should be adding dig through time into our deck. So, all right, instantly punished for my fetch land choice. Very nice. So my opponent's just on like Jeskai or something similar. Doomsday. Well, by I don't know. It's gonna be tough. My opponent has a lot of controlling elements, it seems. Okay, double Moxen and a Jet, so definitely not Jeskai. So maybe some kind of maybe like an Esper Samwise deck, maybe. Put Lurrus in hand, I assume. Yeah. All right, so fetch land is a great draw. Nice. So fetch land lets me either cast Doomsday or dig. I'm just going to cast dig, and I'm just going to cast it now. Obviously, this runs into a negation, but we have to beat through a negation anyways, and I'd rather play with their past with tapped out. I think casting Doomsday there just seems really, really bad to me. So here I get to take a Force of Will and a Gush, and I feel really, really strong about my decision here. So put the cards, click each card to put it on the bottom of your library. Yeah, I think Doomsdaying there would be a mistake. So time walk, sure. A bigger question is if they do something that I need to force, will I gush? Probably not. Caracas. Okay, so it does feel like this is some kind of Esper Sam deck. Okay, so maybe they're just on my Sam deck. That's quite a frustrating card here. Justin. Why do you put decks on the internet? The problem here is they get to just do this over and over again with their Lurrus. God, I don't even know what the best play. If I lose my Gush, I lose my ability to actually win this game. My opponent's hand is just Lurrus extra card. But there's like no cards I can draw once I lose this Gush. That will... Yeah, I don't know. I think I have to just let this happen. Feels really bad though. So we just Doomsday, get it countered, and then Gush, and try to rebuild, and then look to force the Lurrus. Obviously, if they flash this back, it means we have to play through everything being uncounterable for the rest of the game. But that's probably better than them having the ability to just counter all my spells for the rest of the game too. So I'm not really convinced with my line here, but I didn't know what else I would want to do. Okay, so we have a plan. So I just force the Lurrus, and then I go for Doomsday. I guess they could probably play this Hermit first, in which case it's bad for me. I guess I could technically force the Hermit if I wanted to. Hmm. Not exactly the deck you'd really like to see playing a combo deck in round one. What I'd really like is just to draw Tinker. Tinker with force backup, go for the kill. So if they cast Lurrus, I could just let Lurrus resolve theoretically, because they would need to have multiple pieces of fast mana for this Hermit to come into play. But the problem is my cantrip I can't cast because I gushed. I'm just gonna force this. God, if they're pausing, does that mean they have force blue card as their last two cards? That would be quite bad for me. Another Doomsday. Okay. This is where we're at in life. All right. How are we building this? So, we want to play around counters somehow, and we want to play around Wasteland. And we might even want to play around Lavinia. So I think it's very clearly Ancestral top card. And then if Ancestral top card, Time Walk second card, Oracle third card, Oracle Lotus, and a land. What if I just have a land and another Oracle? So Ancestral into Time Walk Oracle land, and then I have another Oracle at the bottom. If my Ancestral gets countered, then I Time Walk and draw Oracle with two cards in library. I like this plan. Ancestral, Time Walk, Oracle, land, Oracle. There's no world in which I need to have the land second. Yeah, okay. I like my plan. This plan looks good to me. Put these cards on the top of your library. Each card you put is on the top. I'd have to read that every time just to make sure. So Oracle, Land, Oracle, Time Walk, Ancestral. Oracle, Land, Oracle, Time Walk, Ancestral. Go. Also plays around a second Malevolent Hermit, kind of, right? EE on 0. Okay. And Jace Rune's Prodigy. Ancestral. And I win, right? I draw Land Oracle. Nice. I did not expect EE on 0. Was not playing around that one. But looks like we covered the bases. So yeah, it looks like blue-white BPK slash whatever we want to put in those kind of decks. Lurrus Control. A nice win to start off against Lurrus Control is good though. This definitely feels like a Fatal Push matchup. It's just straight up my Sam deck. Yeah, I guess it's... I didn't put a JVP in my deck, but it's got to be pretty close. Do I want a Snuff Out? I don't think so. I think I simply want a Fatal Push and maybe a Dress Down. No, I shouldn't need a Dress Down. It just feels like a Fatal Push and that's it. Maybe a Mind Break Trap, maybe Negations. Probably not, though. Yeah. I mean, it's the same idea. It's the Lurrus control deck with Wasteland Recursion, likely. I think I just want a Fatal Push, and that's it. I don't think this Negation Trap stuff makes sense against my opponent's deck. I think this is simply like Mystical out, Fatal Push in. It's possible Fluster is not great. Kind of depends on how many forces they have. But they had at least a main deck negation, so I think we're just going to leave this like this. Let's try that. Really like how I played game 1. Really liked it. I got kind of lucky. I kept drawing Doomsdays, though, so maybe. This is a classic Justin hand. Doom. What a beautiful Justin 7. That's mulligan. Oh my lord. These are like the worst possible hands I've ever seen. This one's a little bit better. You just put back a Moxen and you have top, but it just doesn't do anything, right? Like, to be fair, if you were to pull these hands, if you were playing normal Doomsday, the hand would be like Portent, Sleight of Hand, Bobble. Like, it would also look really bad because it's just like the last 10 cards of your deck. I'm just gonna mulligan again and look for something better. Hey, look, something better. Keep. Oh, I'm just not even keeping that hand. I'm just gonna put this Repeal on the bottom. And I'll put this Dark Ritual on the bottom and try to play value here. Oh, what's up, Robin? Hey, London Mulligan's broken. You know, Mr. Dredger. Come on now. I'll keep Ancestral. 7-card Ancestral versus 5-card Ancestral? Brutal. All right, show me your secrets. Okay, all right, okay. That will be challenging. Two for one. Force snap. Okay. Malevolent Hermit incoming. Okay. I don't know exactly how we're winning this game. I don't know if like putting this Hermit in the yard is even good. Because then they just flash it back and all their spells are uncounterable. Let's just preordain first, but then we can maybe choose to just push this. Another Doomsday. Do I even want a Doomsday here? I'm going to get my first land wastelanded. I don't even know, like... I kind of want just draw spells. I don't even think I want this Doomsday. I don't know. I think Fatal pushing it now has a lot of value. Like, I'm never going to win a counter matchup anyways, so if they, like, play a land and flip, it's fine, but if they don't hit a land and they, like, wasteland, then they're super far from casting it. I'm just going to put this on the bottom. Of course. Of course, of course, of course. I'm gonna push it. My gut instinct is telling me to push this thing. I guess if they play a land and put Lurrus in their hand, though, it's pretty bad. So, maybe not. Yeah, it's super doomed. Okay, this play was bad. I should have just... But then I can't kill the Lurrus anyways, so what's the point? Oh, they're going to flash it back? Okay, that's good for me, actually. I am, like, pretty happy to see that. I feel like Lurrus in your hand, rebuy it later is, like, way better. All right, we can just never win this game, right? I have no idea how we're ever supposed to win this game. Simply mulliganing to 5 made it impossible to win the game. Not ideal. Okay, sure. You got it. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Man, this just does not look like a fun matchup. Maybe we will need to put Mindbreak Trap in the deck. I don't know. There was no situation where Mindbreak Trap would have been good. I think we simply need to not mulligan. Because my opponent's hand being 3 Force of Will was going to be really hard for our mulligan to beat. All right. So I don't have that much time to draw like 2 pieces of action in a row that I can cast somehow and that actually do something. Okay, we'll definitely take Brainstorm, but I just don't know where this goes for us. Good lord, these cards are bad. We just have to get through a double Force of Will hand, though. how we ever gonna do that? Like I have it. I legitimately have Oracle Console. I don't have another removal spell in my deck. All right, let's just go next game here. There's just no point, right? I can't. Fluster doesn't do anything. I can't counter their Force of Wills. There's a Benevolent Geist in play. So like, I've been locked out. All right, I'm gonna put this dress down in the deck. I've decided. That's the change I think I need to make here. And then think I'll just trim a top. All right, we're just looking for a nice, powerful, Tinker with Force backup hand. Let's do one of those. Okay. Close. Pretty sweet hand, though. If I get Wastelanded, it's fine. Citadel Ritual Time Walk. So theoretically, I can go crack fetch 2 mana, ritual 4 mana, ritual 6 mana. Try to cast Citadel if they don't have a turn 1 hate piece. And then I have the ability to Yogwill rebuy later with. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm going to try that. But I guess that makes my Tinker dead. So is that a good plan? If I then if it doesn't work, and then on the next turn I draw a land or a Moxen, it doesn't let me go again. So I actually think this seems bad then. I think we'll just shuffle then. I guess I theoretically could wait Merchant Scroll for Force, and then I have an attempt with Force backup, but they'll have 9 total cards from then. I mean, my whole deck is bad against Counterspell. That's kind of the why this matchup is not a good idea. I think I need to do something more along the lines of Merchant Ancestral and then Yogwill Ancestral. So I'm just gonna bottom these cards. I would really like to draw Moxen next turn so I can like Merchant for Ancestral and then be able to Tinker and stuff. Jeez, are they gonna play turn 1 Lavinia with on color Sapphire? Yeah, of course they are. All right, all right. Classic. It's just unbelievable. Oh man. Yeah. I mean, I can't even use my forces to protect my spells anymore, so it's very bad for me. It's very, very bad for me. Yep, of course. Okay, so how we win this game? You need to hit land drops or fatal push. Of course. Yeah, we need to draw a fatal push probably right now and then like bait with ancestral or something. Come on. Uh does it make sense to cast ancestral right now into I mean I think so. This is just never getting better. This matchup, it looks abysmal. I mean, lands are good. The problem is I'm so far away from being able to do something powerful. I need to have a third land in play to play Yogwill. Maybe in this game I can bait a counterspell off of Tinker somehow. I actually don't have too many lands left to search either. And now they have Bobble Train happening. Yeah, I can't imagine winning this game. My opponent would have to have all bricks. Don't want to fetch because I want to be able to get a fetch out of the yard if I Yogwill. I don't think I want to Ritual Yogwill right here because I think I need like a Fluster maybe. Oh, right. I can't even play a Moxen because of the stupid Lavinia, so I can't even bait with Tinker. I drew the island? I guess I have an Underground Sea in my yard. It's fine. So I actually think the play here is just going to be Dark Ritual Doomsday and try to have them counter it and then untap and go. I mean, Yogwill Ancestral is like not good enough, right? But what other play am I really making here? I mean, they should probably just let it resolve, but it's. We'll see. I kind of need them to counter it. No, they just let it resolve. All right, so I go to 1. Can I set up a pile that wins through a counter? No, absolutely not. We're super dead. I kind of need them to counter this. Like we're gonna go to 6, and then we're gonna go to 1, and we have to win immediately. Yeah, I mean, but they have a double bobble. Like they drawn a zillion cards. We just couldn't beat the turn 1 Lavinia. It's fair. My 2 forces were the next 2 cards. Did I have like a cantrip I could have played? I didn't have any cantrips, right? So, um, yeah. Even if I push something, I can't win with a push because like I can't even buy a turn with a push. It's just like cast Ancestral, hope it resolves. Cast Oracle, hope it resolves. There's like no other play, right? It's just that. I guess theoretically, I could go dress down. So if I play dress down and then I gush, and then I time walk and fluster or something. If I play dress down and then I gush, I can't play time walk with fluster back up. I'm trying to think if there's a way, if I dress down, that I could double Oracle on the following turn. So if I like go dress down, time walk. Sorry, dress down, time walk, gush. But then I would have to draw. So dress down into gush into Lotus. No, I can't. I can't get enough cards that way. Trying to figure out, because if I do Dress Down into Gush into Time Walk, it still just ends up with one Oracle on the following turn with no counter backup, right? I guess I could get Fluster backup. So if I Dress Down into Gush, Gush into Oracle, Gush into Time Walk Flusterstorm, and then play Oracle with Flusterstorm backup on the last turn. I don't think that's good, but it's at least a play. Then I get Wastelanded and it's super bad. I guess it's not super. No, it's super bad. All right, I'm just gonna go for Ancestral then. So if I just go Ancestral, that can play through Flusterstorm, and then Oracle with Flusterstorm backup. Yeah, I mean, whatever. That just seems fine to me. Is there anything worthwhile that I can also put in this pile? Dress Down Ancestral doesn't really do anything and it also loses to Wasteland, so that pile seems really, really bad. Whatever. It's okay. I'm over it. I'm just going to Ancestral and hope it works. Ancestral. Oh, I don't even have a land drop this turn. That Gush line would not even work. How do I not have a land drop? Isn't it my turn 4? Oh, I got Wastelanded. Right. Okay. It's just super bad for me. My opponent has to have actual 0 cards that matter. I can't force. I have him at 1 life. Turning off Lavinia is just kind of shit. Yeah, doesn't matter. What a terrible matchup. Ugh. All right, nothing I can do. Okay, round 2. Up against probably Tinker Initiative. Our hand is fine. Probably just a keep. Turn 1 Lavinia. Oh. I see you, opponent. Land is a decent draw there. I gotta imagine I get like an opposition agent or something. I'm just gonna cast a Dark Ritual Doomsday, and if they want to counter it, that's fine with me. If they don't want to counter it, then we'll figure it out. All right. Time to figure it out. I guess if they flash in a Hold Reacher, that's the #1 concern. So I'd like to make this pile as succinct and with as least draws spells as I possibly can. I don't think we can beat a Lavinia, realistically. Well, maybe we can with just Time Walk. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the pile have fetch, land, double Oracle, How many turns do I get? 18, 9. I get at least 2 turns. Fetch. Oracle. Oracle. If I draw fetch, I'm down to 4 cards. If I fetch, I'm down to 3 cards. And then, so I can just put, I can't really put probe. Trying to figure out another card to put in here. Because theoretically, my deck will contain another card and 2 oracles. I guess it can just be force. So then I'm randomly looking at Oracle, force. I'm not, like, I don't know if I'm supposed to put any cantrips in my deck or in my pile. I think I want to make this pile as resistant to Hull Breacher as physically possible here. What if I put a Yogwill in the pile? Could I then go, if I fetch and then my next card is Yogwill, I can go Dark Ritual, Yogwill. No, it doesn't do anything. I don't really want to have force, do I? Maybe it just has to be a cantrip. It's like super bad for me if it's a cantrip though, right? And none of these other cards are really helping me. I don't think I have enough lands to Yogwill Time Walk. So if I go fetch land, I have 2 lands in play. And then I actually have a 3rd land in hand. So I could go Dark Ritual, Yogwill, and Time. Okay, I guess I could do it. Because I have this other land in my hand. It's kind of interesting. Let's try this. I mean, they have Fluster, so I don't really want a Yogwill, but I need to, like, in general, I would just like to double Oracle. I mean, it's possible that this is just supposed to be probe. But this is fine. Let's try this. It's possible I'm overthinking this and I should just play like the cantrips, but I feel like my opponent has a high likelihood of having a Hull Breacher. We played against Esper Lurrus. All right, so they didn't have a Hull Breacher right now. Our hand is still okay against Lavinia as well. Shouldn't F6 here. Are they going to hardcast Citadel? The one thing about Tinker Doomsday and Doomsday is that because you're not playing like the Saga, Plan B like Jewel is, you can definitely overload on counter spells and be winning in the matchup like the blue white Lurrus deck was doing. Similar to like why Countervine is good against Doomsday. Doomsday and is definitely a deck that you can overload and beat, but the problem is like if depending on how much you overload, you kind of need to overload by a lot, and once you do that, you are sacrificing the rest of the matchups against the field, and the rest of the matchups against the field are super polarizing. Like you can't overload on counter spells and expect to beat like Mono White Initiative or Bizarre, that kind of thing. So it's like one of the things that Initiative has done to the metagame is made it so you do need to beat a wide range of game plans. All right, so my opponent is going to hold up force again. I don't know. I feel like I like the spot we're in. We have a lot of possible ways to advance this game. Is there... Yeah, time walk. I guess they could have a swords to plowshares. How many swords in the main? A single swords. I guess if they have double swords, it's quite bad. Oh, we drew the Yogwill. I wonder if we should just wait though. Like we can do. I don't think we should. I don't think we should cast this here. Because the Yogwill gives us an additional win attempt. Because if I draw Oracle next, I have two Oracles in my deck. So I play Oracle, I cast Oracle, they counter it. And then on the next turn, I play Oracle, they cast Oracle. Oh, no, that actually doesn't work because I'll never have enough mana. So I'm better off just going Ritual Yagwill Time Walk and doing my first Oracle and my second Oracle. Unless I go Ritual Yagwill Doomsday again. Doesn't seem good though, because I still can't play. Like I don't have enough cards in my library to go like Oracle. I really wanted to not draw my Yagwill first, but it is what it is. Doomsday deck's still using one Bowmaster main. I don't remember any vintage Doomsday decks using a Bowmaster main. When did that happen? Why don't I go Yogwill Time Walk? Well, I'm seeing if there's a way I can make triple redundant, like a redundancy against double counter spell. I am going to go Yogwill Time Walk because I found I can't find, like I was looking for maybe there's a way where if they counter my Oracle, then I can go Dark Ritual Yogwill Oracle again, right? But I can't, there is no way. So we just don't have enough time. If we had drawn Yogwill last, then this would have worked really, really well, right? Because if I had drawn Yogwill last, I would have gone Oracle cast, you have to counter it. Oracle cast, you have to counter it. Draw Yogwill, Oracle cast a third time. But I drew my Yogwill first out of my three, which is sad. And that's just how it goes. I don't know if they have swords, right? Yeah. I can't really play around this either because I can't play two oracles in the same turn. So if they have swords into hardcast force, I just lose with this pile. But I would have beaten swords into hardcast force if I drew my Yogwill last. Or even second to last. Like, because if they swords my first one, I guess if they swords my first one, I can't draw it second to last. I would have to draw it last. Yeah. So they had force and they had swords. Okay. I don't know. They didn't have a Hull Breacher, so I definitely could have made this pile differently. I wonder, like, if I just go for Ancestral into Force, maybe I just win. Maybe I overthought it. It's possible. I don't know. I mean, they could have technically had double Force, in which case I don't think I can ever win. Because they did pitch cast there. It's really, really unfortunate that Swords to Plowshares was a way to stop Oracle there. It just is like, if they play Hull Breacher off of their turn one Lotus pass, and then I cast Ancestral, like if I have Ancestral on the top of my library, don't I just auto lose, right? It feels like I could realistically play around it, so I should. They do have Archon of Emeria in their sideboard. So let's bring in Snuff Out and Fatal Push. I don't think I'm going to bring in... Virtue's Ruin for 10. I don't think I'm going to bring in Virtue's Ruin. And then definitely bringing in Trap. Taking out Island. Taking out Mystical and Necro. Actually, are they Wasteland or are they Saga? They're Saga. Let's do this. So I wonder, maybe I overthought that hand and lost because of it. It's possible. It's a good hand. The other thing I could have done in that hand is instead of playing Yogwell, I could have had a Force. And that was something I considered. I just thought if I drew Force of Will as my first card, it would be kind of bad. But maybe that's not the case. If I had just drawn Force of Will as my first card, they get one more card, but we get at least access. The problem is if they had a Hull Breacher, then I don't get to do 2 Oracle casts, right? Because they're attacking me. So I have to do the Yogwell Time Walk thing to get my 2 Oracle casts in. So not sure. Are you gonna mental misstep this? Negate this? What are we thinking about, opponent? Force it. You got it. It's a resolve for me. You got a memory trap too? They're gonna double force it? So my opponent just cast Force Pitching Hull Breacher, Force Pitching Fluster, 2 cards remaining on my 2 tops. No, I don't really think Cavern is any good. Jet top go? Man, what a life these players live. This looks like a pass angle. I have Dark Ritual. No, I don't have Dark Ritual Force. Maybe that should have been a Preordain then. But Preordain does win the game with a Doomsday draw, so... Yeah, I don't mean, this is an extremely aggressive counter suite there. I expected them to go like, I don't know, Urza Saga. That makes more sense if they have like an Urza Saga or something. Yeah. Could just scroll Ancestral. I don't know. We're just gonna bury our opponent in cards, right? Maybe their last card's Flusterstorm. That's fine too. I shouldn't have 6 in case their last card is Ancestral. Which would kind of make sense given the way they played their hand. Man, I just can't stop thinking about that game 1. I don't know. I thought the justification that I had seemed reasonable, but maybe I could have... Maybe there was a better third card. I don't know. Oh, they're going to spin now? That's nice of them. Now I don't have to worry about getting Hold Breachered. I guess I never had to worry about getting Hold Breachered because I have Force, but... I even pay Fluster mana. It's quite good here. Just start by drawing 3, and then we can do whatever we want with these cards too. What's this? Force? Oh, they found mental misstep. What do we think about like demonic Lotus and then Lotus dig in their upkeep? Or we can just demonic for Doomsday or Tinker. I'm just worried about getting Flusterstormed is what I'm worried about. I guess demonicking for Lotus is not going to help me beat a Flusterstorm last card. I guess if they have Flusterstorm, they're just going to Flusterstorm my demonic anyways, right? So probably doesn't matter. But I think I should force their top then. Forcing their top is like kind of bad too. What if I get Yogwell and just go Ritual Yogwell Ancestral? Eh. What if I just get Mental Misstep? Don't try this at home. Isn't this kind of sick? I mean, it just plays around everything and I still have a dig through time. I don't know. It seems really good to me. Like they're gonna brainstorm lock themselves. They have no top. I resolve dig through time. I'm winning. Second top. Like, I don't know. It seems good to me. This looks really, really good. Like, this dig through time can very easily win, right? And they can't have force and they can't have fluster. I don't know, man. It looks good. So I guess the answer is just preordained Doomsday. The Yogwell is enticing, of course. Watch this last card be Mindbreak Trap. All right, so I have Force, and I'm making a Doomsday pile, and it's a pass the turn pile because that's all my deck makes. Gush, Time Walk, Oracle, Oracle. And is there another compelling card to draw? I guess if they have, I mean, there's no way they can have Hull Breacher with Force backup. Yeah, I guess Fluster's just fine. I don't really like. I'm not really sure if Fluster does anything. And even anyways, I would be doing Gush, Time Walk, Oracle, Oracle first, right? Like it would be last card Fluster. Like is that really any good? I don't really feel like that does much. I don't know if there is a card here that I guess like putting flustered makes them think I have a flusterstorm. So maybe that's a reason. Whatever. Because I think I don't care about this fluster. I think I just doing gush, time walk, fluster, oracle, gush, time, yeah, time walk, gush. Could be wrong. Ah! Undo. Sweet. Glad that works. Oracle, time walk, gush. Okay, pass. I don't know. Tell me that DT wasn't lit. Tell me that DT wasn't lit. Dig through time looked quite good there. Okay. I don't believe my opponent played that game to the best of their ability. I can't imagine casting force on top, but what do I know? Are they? Oh, we should be playing Opposition Agent. That's a big miss. I should have been playing that for sure. Oh, I like the Doomsday version. I would play the other Snuff Out version if it didn't cost like 20 tickets more. But this is the best Doomsday art, so Dig Through Time definitely earned its keep in that game. That's fine. You can be wrong. What do I want to cut? It feels a little bad, but I kind of want to cut a top. Maybe I can cut Vamp here. Doesn't seem unreasonable to me. I don't like cutting Vamp. They play Opposition Agents? No. I can't cut Vamp when they might play Archon. I actually feel like I shouldn't cut Mystical or Vamp because of that. Maybe I can just go like one top, one ritual instead. On the play, I think it's maybe different, but it's hard to argue that. All right, what do I have? I mean, seems fine. It's a turn 2 kill, right? Turn 2 with force. Unless they force my top. Man, where's my mind break trap, man? It's a lot of fast mana. They got a top. Cheating. That is a whole lot of fast mana to not cast Paradoxical Outcome with. If you donate the difference between Snuff Out and the original printing Snuff Out on Magic Online, I will buy a nice Snuff Out just for you. Drawing with top. Okay. Island, I assume. Sure. Sure. Oh. Huh. I'm not convinced I want to Doomsday right away. No, I actually kind of agree. That is my leaning here as well. I just don't feel like this Doomsday gets like, I think it's more valuable to vamp or even play top. Probably vamp. That could be wrong, but I that's my gut instinct is that I don't think it makes a lot of sense to just Dark Ritual Doomsday here when I can make my approach better. Hull Breacher. Just force it. We are now shields down though. They have 2 cards in hand. But this also prevents us from getting Archon because we can just vamp for Snuff Out. And we still have a Sensei's top kill, right? With the Gush line. It's really all in and loses to Mindbreak Trap, though. Not sure we want to take that line unless they like exhaust all their spells or something. We could make the Gush Lotus Ancestral Sapphire pile. God, imagine I get op agented. Would lose my mind. Well, I was thinking about if I vamped for Snuff Out. Now that I have a vamp, we just have Ancestral Recall, right? What about like second Hold Breacher? Do we care? I'm saying like if they went all in on Archon, so they only had 1 card left in their hand, then we could go vamp, Snuff Out, Ritual Doomsday, top, all in top pile. So I'm worried about another Hold Breacher. So, but maybe I just make a Doomsday pile that's good against the Hold Breacher. I'm going to 16, and then I'd go to 8, and then I go to 5. But like this makes me not want to get Ancestral Recall, right? I mean, I theoretically can go Snuff Out and then just go for the all-in Doomsday kill. It just loses to 4, so you don't want to do that. Doesn't that feel like we're wasting our tutor for if we're tutoring for Ancestral though? Like, what if they just cast Breacher right now? Wouldn't that be the correct play? And is Ancestral better than Gush? What if they just have Flusterstorm? Like, what if we just take? I guess we can't beat Flusterstorm with Flusterstorm anyways. So Ancestral is like the best backup play. I'm like tending to agree with you. I'm just trying to see if there's anything better. Like we can't just consider Hull Breacher. We have to consider Hull Breacher, Force, Fluster. So see what happens this way. All right, like we're like, are we going to cast Ancestral? Probably not, right? Not until end of turn. If they like tap to spin. All right, I gotta think about this one. So I'm gonna go to 8. I can take a Hold Reacher hit, but I don't have a lot of mana. But I would draw 3. So I could just draw into Force. Blue card. So like, should my top cards be like Force? Oh, I only have one Oracle left. That's interesting as well. I could also like play my top out if I wanted to, but it doesn't seem good. Sure. I need to have a blue card that I can pitch to Force. I guess if they, and I guess I don't need to force the Hold Breacher if they Hold Breach. If I resolve Ancestral though, because I'll have 2 cards left in my library anyways, so I can just have Force. I really need to make sure my Oracle resolves though, which could be challenging. Maybe I'm just supposed to have. I can't have more than Force backup though, unless I like wait another turn or I don't know. I think I'm like pretty committed to Time Walk, Oracle, Force, but I don't see like super valuable other options. Like I can't really afford to go like mana sources and fluster. So I can add another Force blue card, but is that actually helping me really? I guess I can do Gush won't work because I'll have to draw for turn. If like my ancestral resolves, I guess I can just pitch Gush if my ancestral resolves, and if my ancestral doesn't resolve, then it's fine. Lotus Yogwill. It's not an unreasonable choice. I guess I have to win pretty fast here. I'm just gonna take Gush Force. Done. It's possible Lotus Yog is kind of nice too. I can just start with Time Walk. So I can just put Ancestral into, so like have Oracle second from the bottom, Force, Oracle, Force, Gush, Time Walk. I don't know. Seems fine. That might just not do anything, to be fair. I'm supposed to Ancestral here if they... Oh, fuck me. All right, well, I'm gonna Ancestral Recall. They can then get their own Ancestral Recall, but then I have Force. But if I wait, then... But that's fine, right? Because I have Force. Oh, fuck. Okay. I can't imagine we win this game then. Their last card in their hand was Mindbreak Trap. Well, I'm glad I didn't go for any of those other lines that I said. They should just get Tinker and win, right? Right. I mean, I could have let Vamp resolve. That just opens me up to so many bad things happening, though. It just opens me up to so like infinite bad things happening. I don't know. Man, I feel like I threw this. I feel like I threw all of these games. Playing a land there is wrong. Just use your top. You want to be able to play Saga or Academy or something. I guess there's no Academy in their deck, so maybe it's fine then. What I put on top? I put on top Time Walk Gush. That still doesn't win the game though, because I can't win the same turn. Or I put Gush Time Walk. Because Gush Time Walk can win the. Oh no, they hit Lavinia. All right. So I needed to Ancestral in their upkeep instead. Doesn't that open me up to like so many bad things happening? I don't know. Doesn't seem like it's the right call. Well, I mean, like very clearly I could have made a different pile in game 1. Like it's definitely wrong to let Vamp resolve and then Ancestral, right? With a top in play and untapping. That's got to be wrong. The right play, but it just got punished for it by them having Mindbreak Trap as their last card. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, I didn't even order it in the way where I could gush even if there wasn't a Lavinia. Yeah, sure. It's unfortunate that I don't think I can't even like cast Gush and get it countered for +1 mana because I don't win. But like there's like a world where if I could like Gush for +1 mana, I could top into my Oracle, but I'm 1 card short, I think, so. And I can't even cast it because Lavinia doesn't let you cast it. I don't know. I don't really dislike the play I made. Just didn't work. Like game 1, I think I could theoretically say the play I made was not good, but I'm not really sure. The good news is I would have been very, very screwed by the all-in line if I'd gone all-in, where I go like the top into whatever line. Top into Gush, Lotus, replay top into Ancestral, Ancestral into Sapphire, Oracle. That line gets murdered by Mindbreak Trap there. I mean, if they had vamped for Tinker and I had gone for Ancestral on upkeep, we would have won, right? We would have Ancestral into force their Tinker. That's 2 spells, and then untapped in 1. So, like, if I had taken the other choice and they had still gone Tinker, we would have won. The thing is, they don't have to go Tinker. They can go Hull Breacher, in which case, if I upkeep Ancestral and they have put a Hull Breacher on top with Vamp, they can draw it with their top and cast it in response, and then I am just super dead. Because my Oracle is like way too far down. And they could also just like have counter magics and other things. Like they could have blue card in hand, they could put force on top. Like we probably beat that hand theoretically, actually, but I don't know. Like, am I really supposed to play around Mind Break Trap over like letting them vamp into something? Feels like it's not the case, but could be wrong. All right, down here in the O2 bracket with the good old Deck 84 playing Grixis Tinker Breach. Yeah, this seems like it's enough, but maybe you could argue mulliganing against this, mulliganing this hand. But I don't mind this hand, especially because I know I'm not getting wastelanded. If I'm on an unknown opponent, maybe this is too much. Just gonna hold the Mana Crypt. I don't see a compelling reason to cast it. Don't want to lose life for free. Basic Island. Dak Baden. Am I crazy for just wanting to let this resolve? Like, I don't know. Do I care? Maybe I care a little. Making it past the turn pile against a Dak Baden is kind of annoying. Stealing a artifact may be a little annoying. I'm not sure. I feel like there's definitely a world where you can let that resolve. Okay. Only 2 cards in my opponent's hand, but our hand is full of nonsense. Gonna need some help. That's not help. Flusterstorm, Probe. Those cards don't do anything. Uh-oh. Repeal. I think we're gonna die. Maybe I just have to mulligan this hand. Two Dark Rituals is pretty bad. Two Dark Rituals is fantastic. Oh, two Dark Rituals does not get us there, though, because we don't have another land. Or we could just go straight into Tinker land, and they don't have Hardcast Force up. So, but we can go Ritual Demonic, Ritual Doomsday. We could just go Necro. It's kind of an interesting idea as well. Because we do technically have an answer to Vault Key. Is Will good enough? It might be, actually, because we have all these Dark Rituals. Yeah, we could probably go for a Tinker off Will. Demonic, Dark Ritual, Will, Dark Ritual, Dark Ritual. Yeah, alright, I'm down. I mean, I have a Mana Crypt, too, like... Wish I had Tendrils, huh? Tendrils kill would be very clean and easy here. We even have a... We actually have Hardcast Citadel. Can play around Pyroblast. I wonder. I mean, I could also go Doomsday and break the pile with Ponder. A lot of interesting options here. I think tinkering is better just because it gets rid of the mana crypt. Maybe it's not. Like, has my opponent had an ability to pyroblast at any point in this turn? They haven't. How many pyroblasts do they play? Like, my opponent is a pyroblast boomer, right? They're on 2 main deck pyroblast. I'm gonna hard cast Citadel. And that also lets me repeal Time Vault later. Yeah, I'm gonna hard cast Citadel. Okay, fair enough. What is this? Oh, they have Braid. Guess what? Nope. I'm glad I didn't F6. I have very much F6 through that kind of section before, and I am very glad I didn't F6. So I got to play my force alternate cast from my graveyard, pitching my repeal. All right, so if my opponent doesn't time walk me here, or tinker me, or key me, then I have an active Citadel at 16 life with a top. So yeah, want to flip, draw, Doomsday, Dark Ritual. All right, number 1. Hey, look, a top. Should be winning. And a Doomsday. Perfect. Wow, I almost was ready to F6 there, and I'm really glad I didn't. I didn't think about a braid. I was mostly worried about Pyroblast, which we actually just straight up played around the whole turn. I guess they couldn't Pyroblast and braid because they only had 1 red source at the time, because Urza Saga does not make mana of colors. All right, that was sweet. I do think this is another hard matchup, considering my opponent is on Pyroblast and Brain Freeze and stuff. This has definitely not been an easy road as the Doomsday Tinker player. They also have Hull Breachers in their deck, so it's like 2 Breach, Dress Down, Hull Breacher, Dak Faden, Fluster Fluster, Pyro Pyro, a Braid Brain Freeze, sideboard 3rd Pyro. Huh. Okay. They are on Demonic Vampiric Saga. I'm going to bring in Opposition Agent. And then I'm not actually sure like how good Negation and Trap are against them. I also don't think Dress Down is... I mean, this is the matchup you would bring in Dress Down, Justin. So why don't you bring in Dress Down? I don't know. These cards seem good. Island seems bad. Mystical seems awful. Vampiric seems not great. 1 Ritual is probably fine to get rid of. And then maybe a top. Seems okay. It's weird taking out like these Mysticals when we're a plan A Tinker deck. But like Tinker is not a great plan against my 3 Pyroblast opponent. So... this hand has a top. It also technically has Hardcast Force. This is probably a keep. I think I'll forego playing Hardcast Force this turn in favor of getting my top down and getting 6 looks for a powerful card. And I think I'll just play everything out. So now I have spin, look for tinker or something that gets me to tinker. If I don't find it, crack, spin, look for tinker. I have another crack in hand. Obviously, they can have multiple pieces of... Yeah, uh-huh. All right, well, you know I have a force. So it might not be good enough, but this is like a very classic PO line. Definitely wish I had POs in my deck here, though, considering I have the broken mana. All right, they're making a play. Might just be time walk. Yeah. Okay, sure. Reasonable. All right, they missed a land drop. Oh, I don't want to F6 here, please. Ancestral. Well, we'll spin because we have flusters in our deck. All right, found a fluster and a time walk and a doomsday. Can't cast doomsday. We probably just want to redraw top. I don't think we want to like spin top away. So I'll just go fluster on top, activate top, fluster the ancestral is really high value play. We do lose our top. I guess we don't lose our top if they fluster back. I guess they could technically misstep and pay. That would be kind of bad. But it's fine. And then I think we'll just redraw our top then. I don't know. That feels like a line that went really well for us. And then I should have played this Tarn first because they're going to force my top. It feels like they have Pyroblast, right? Man, I really, really, really wish I played my stupid Tarn here because I have the 5 mana. Guess it's just fine. Oh, but now I don't have 5 mana. Fuck. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I hate the play I just made. It was really, really bad. I would have snapped off a Hardcast Force in exchange, Pyroblast exchange. Losing top there is super, super bad for us. But I guess they got rid of Hull Breacher, so that also would have been pretty bad for us. We know that we have a Time Walk on the top of our library. Do we want a Time Walk? There's really no compelling reason to have a Time Walk, right? So just fetch it away. Lost another flip, down to 13. Yogwill. Sure. All right, get back my land and get back my top. And we're back. All right, and I still have force, and I still have a million looks for a play. So I'm hoping we can go spin 9 times, find a tinker with force back up. Only down to 13 life, though. Ritual, delta, delta. Okay, fetch. C. Spin. Ritual, top. All right. Fetch. Spin. Bolus' Citadel. That's the one. Can I please not take any more crypt flip losses? I lost my 3rd flip in a row. This can't be pyroed and it can't be flustered. No, I have a land. Yeah, so I play this. I play my land. Doomsday. If I cast this Doomsday, if I fetch in response to this Doomsday, I cast this Doomsday, I fetch in response, I go to 2, and then I can play Mox, 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 Oracle off the draw with top, play Oracle. You're right. Costs 3 life. So I don't fetch. I cast Doomsday. Yeah, it's not gonna work. That's not gonna work either. Okay. I mean, I can draw this Doomsday and it will work next turn even if I lose life, right? So let's just spin. I could just draw, oh, a Petal Misstep. I could also just draw with my top and play. I just like am worried about mana crypt because if I draw with my top and I lose a mana crypt flip, then I can't force, right? So maybe I shouldn't have spun this way. I might have to respin again on upkeep to draw the Doomsday. Maybe I just shouldn't have played this opposition agent out. Maybe that was like the really bad play here. Playing this opposition agent might have been just really bad. I thought it looked kind of good, but brain freeze. I'm really glad I did not go for a Doomsday line that I couldn't do anyways. These whole Citadel lines are all very experimental and new. So all right, mill 3, mill 3, gosh. Could draw this. Lose my top. That's probably worse. Okay. Man, if I lose another crypt flip, though, this game gets so hard. Another question will be, like, do we upkeep spin? Probably. We have a lot of colorless mana. Blue, red, Underworld Breach? What does that do? If they have a mana, they get to do crazy shit. If they don't have a mana, they get to just probe for a mana and then maybe Ancestral. Just looks quite bad for me. I think that has to be forced, which is really bad for me in the long run here. I guess they would have to exactly have a Mox for that to be really bad, but... Okay, so I really, really want to not lose a 4th crypt flip in a row. Really want to not lose a 4th crypt flip in a row. I lost all my crypt flips. All right, I like my new plan is win a crypt flip and activate Citadel for lethal. I'm just not very lucky. All right, draw this fetch land for turn. Play the Ruby off the top. Spin my top again. Time walk. Okay, like the plan is on. Okay, so if I draw, ponder, cast, time walk. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oracle could be 9. What if I draw Yeah, I mean, I want to get through some cards. So draw, ponder, draw oracle, draw top, spin top, time walk. Just in case there's another Moxen or something. Dark Ritual is not a good draw. Time walk. Draw, time walk. Time walk. I need to win a crypt flip. I need to win a crypt flip. I need to not lose 5 crypt flips in a row. I lost 5 crypt flips! So I draw top. I spin into a repeal. I draw repeal. And I repeal my mana crypt? Are you kidding me? This game is won. This game is just won. I literally just need to win a single crypt flip in this game. It's not my day. It is just not my day. I have very few permanents to make that line work, but I just need to not take 15 damage from my mana crypt. I simply need to not lose every single flip. Holy hell. Okay. Is this turn 2 Tinker? Time Walk. Dark Ritual. 3 mana, 5 mana, Demonic Tinker. Yeah. Alright, well, I'm gonna go Tinkerling. This is what I do. Okay. I have a Citadel on turn 1. I have an 8 life dig through time. Sure, why not? Can I see my top card? No, right? I can't. Sapphire Fluster also lets me repeal. Probably. Hey, look, a Sensei's top. I think I just bottom both of these. Do another force anyways. 7 life. Necro Ponder. Looks like Ponder Shuffle. Probe down to 5. Ancestral Fluster, Sapphire Jet. I do need to find like an actual winning the game card, which I have not found. Do I? Think so. Maybe I don't. I mean, I'd like to just win the game, but... How low am I really allowed to go here? 8 life doesn't matter. It was fine. 4. I think I can go another lower. I don't think I'm going to go any lower than this. So... Your go. I have a lot of counter magic. Ah, I didn't mean to hit that. I lose this game because I hit that. I was moving my library. It's just one of those days. I actually lose the game because I hit that. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's actually really, really bad for me because I can't cast any forces anymore. Like I can't force on my turn and protect myself anymore here. It's so bad. So I use my top and I draw my Oracle, and then I cast Doomsday down to 1. Can I beat Ancestral? Draw my Oracle. Doomsday. No, I just need to win the game, but this game is extremely, extremely over if I just do not cast the Dark Ritual by accident because I have the ability to Force of Will. But now I can't Force of Will, so I need to theoretically beat them with double Fluster, which I think still will work. This is black mana for Doomsday. This is blue mana for Oracle. And then this is mana for Fluster. So it's probably fine. It probably just doesn't matter. Because I get to replay my Lotus off the top anyways. But it's just like really frustrating because it was super simple and super clean. So if I put Lotus... I should have cracked my pedal before I cast Doomsday so that I could replay my pedal for blue mana. So if I go Lotus, Jet, Ruby, cast Oracle, they cast... It's fine. It's just fine. I just put 4 0 drops on the top. Wait, I can put a land on top too, right? So I can go Underground Sea, Lotus, Jet, Ruby, second Oracle. I don't need second Oracle. No, I don't need to Gush. I don't need to do anything. I have a Citadel in play. I just need to make sure I can counter all their spells. So is there any... I don't have any more Flusters in my deck, right? What about Mental Misstep? If I put Mental Misstep on top and I draw my Mental Misstep with my top at some point... So if I go land, Lotus, Mox, and then Misstep, I can draw into my Misstep for another blue. Yeah. And I can just put, I don't know, Oracle at the bottom. Done. So Oracle, Misstep, land, Mox, Lotus. Land, Lotus. Mox. Oracle. And now I have Fluster, Negation, Misstep, backup. Oh my god, I tried so hard to make my life hard. It's so stupid of me. They only have one Fluster anyway. Like, I tried really hard to throw this game. That was not throwable. Oh, they drew Force for turn. Ooh. So they have Ancestral Flusters still. It's just fine, right? It just doesn't matter. I have like so many counter spells. Like they can't do enough stuff. Ancestral target me. They even drew the best card for turn, and it just didn't matter. They fluster, and then I fluster their spells, and the game is ended. I can just do this now, right? So they don't have to click through everything. One, two, three, four, five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sure, F6. Not a bad stack. Not a bad stack. I just, like, the game is very, very easy if I just have a mana to do Force as well. But I just accidentally clicked my Dark Ritual. Oh, boy. Like, it's very, like, Citadel in this deck is so strong. Even when you, like, take 8 life for a dig through time, it just doesn't matter. Good lord. All right, here we go. Round 4. Powerful Wizard. Lamp a lot across the table. I've got 4 fetch lands. Black Lotus. Thassa's Oracle. This technically makes me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana on turn 2 for dig through time. That feels like I can do better. Hello, better. Nice to see you there. Wow, this is going to be interesting. What are we doing with this hand? This kind of feels like bottom top, brainstorm, shuffle your brainstorm cards with merchant scroll, get ancestral recall, cast ancestral recall? What? This is a bit of a hand, I may say. I don't know how I feel about what we're about to do here, but I think that's where I'm at. Oh boy. This is exciting. I don't know if this hand is actually good. I don't know if this is what we should be doing, but we're definitely doing it. I didn't put these cards in my deck not to do them. Not to do them. Not to cast them. This is a very vintage hand, which is exciting as well. I don't think I'm ever really playing a top, so I think it makes sense to put the top away. The Oracle pitches to force in case I need a force on this turn. I would like to cast Brainstorm. What do you say to that, opponent? Okay. Fetch, repeal. So I could theoretically put back Petal now, and I could put back Petal, repeal, probably. Or is it better to have repeal than Oracle? I think having Oracle is better because we can draw into Consult. Probably. And then I guess we're ancestraling on their upkeep, right? Don't know if there's any upside to ancestraling now. I guess like they wouldn't really have a counter at the end of all that. So there's like some upside to casting this now, though we don't have a Lotus in our deck anymore. I don't think there's actually any really convincing argument to casting this on their up. I guess like they could theoretically still have a Mind Break trap after all of this, or a negation. I guess. I mean, how can you possibly have a Mind Break trap after all of this? Like, there's absolutely no way you shouldn't have Mind Break trap like the Merchant Scroll with no fetch line in play, right? I mean, it's possible. I just don't like you just always trap the scroll. Force? Woo! Ooh, yeah, I like that. I like that. No, they pitched a Narset to it. Ooh, this is blue card, please. Blue card, please. Okay. Please don't fluster me, bro. If we don't get flustered here, we just have infinite value. All right. So Black Lotus, Delta. What do we want to do with this? I think we just crack Lotus for blue and cast Ancestral. Well, we can scroll later. Like once we get more cards into our hand, we can cast Brainstorm. All right, well, we definitely don't want Island Island. So we can just scroll for Gush or for... We might not even need Gush. Notably, if we time walk this turn, notably we have our Ancestral, our Black Lotus, and our Scroll, and our Time Walk, and our Oracle exiled. We do need to be aware of that. We can just get Mystical and go Tinker, though. That seems way better. I already have Dig in my hand, so I'm just gonna go Time Walk, Mystical, Tinker with Force Backup, and then Tinker try to win that way. I did exile like all of my powerful magic cards here, so. No, I'm gonna just Mystical for Tinker. I think that's just better. Citadel. Ruby. Uh-oh. I can technically cast that because I have a repeal, but I don't think I want to. So I'm gonna fetch it away. Oh, come on! That's ridiculous. Am I getting like mental misstepped after all this? Vamp. Sure. If I do hit Doomsday, I do win on the spot. So there's like a lot of reason to continue going as hard as I can here. I can always pitch this dig to force because I just don't need action because I have a Citadel. I also have 3 tops in my deck. Oh no. All right, bottom. All right, found the top. There we go. It shouldn't matter if I play a Crypt out. Necro. I'm gonna just draw through Necro with my. Oh, I used the wrong mana. Could cost me. Just gonna draw through my Necro. I have a top. It's pretty similar, and I don't want to get randomly hit by the draw condition. At some point, I could probably spin too. Now I gotta be careful of my life total. There's Doomsday. All right. Doomsday. Puts me to 4, so I just need to put Sapphire, Petal. Oh, I only have 1 Oracle. That's fine. Oracle. Have I already played my land drop this turn? Emerald. And I guess I can get Probe, so I can, because I go to 4 and Probe down to 3. And that's still fine. Yeah, let's get Probe. Oracle, Emerald, Lotus, Sapphire, Probe. Probe my opponent. Oh, they didn't get it off in time. So they, oh, see, like we learned something there. That's kind of nice. Because what we'll do is we'll play all of our Moxen and then we'll draw the Oracle. And then we can cast the Oracle with blue with Force Backup. So my opponent revealed Tropical Island. You don't know that that's Show and Tell Oath. Does Bug play Vamp, though? Bug might not play Vamp, right? Like, Lampalot is friends with Echo Baron, and Echo Baron plays Bug sometimes. But I don't think Bug plays Vamp. Why doesn't Bug play Vamp? Wouldn't that be good? All right, so I'm gonna board like they're on Show and Tell Oath. I'm gonna bring in Negation, Negation, Trap. And would we board in... Well, Bug is like a hate bear deck, so like being able to vamp for a Collector Roof seems kind of good to me. Like vamp for Leovold, vamp for Collector Roof, vamp like... I kind of think vamp sounds good in Bug, but I don't know, I could be wrong. I have to be really careful of getting Besieged if I go for Tinker. They could also bring in Null Rods. They're on what? Vamp, Demonic, Mystical, and Fetches. That's probably not good enough reason to play Op Agent, especially because they're Oath. Do I want Dress Down for Atraxa? Is that like a reasonable thing to even want? I don't think so. I do like the idea of Repeal. I don't think we need an island. I don't think we want too many tops in case they bring in Null Rod. And then I'm just going to go Mystical Island top and just bring in more counters. Seems fine. Well, theoretically, you can dress down so that they don't get an Atraxa trigger, which buys you a turn, right? This hand has Mindbreak Trap with top and is missing simply a fetch land. If this hand had a force instead of a merchant scroll or something, I think this hand's like pretty reasonable. But I think without a force, I'm not super interested in this hand. Yeah, I'm gonna put this back. If this hand had a probe, maybe. We just have so little fetches in our deck to make this hand work anyways. Let's mulligan this hand. Oh, this hand is like not very good, but it's fine, I guess. Yo, what's up, Da Vinci? Okay. I'm just gonna keep this bottom the Emerald, which because the Tinker is so much less likely than the Doomsday, we can just keep the Dark Ritual instead. Land go. Seiju. If they play Oath here, I'm probably letting it resolve. I won't cast Brainstorm here either. I think we need to maximize this Brainstorm. It's kind of interesting. I think I am still looking at... I wonder if I should just play top. No, I still think I'm looking at maximizing Brainstorm. Pass. Okay, so I'm going to assume their hand is either like a bunch of Tinkers and Show and Tells or a bunch of counterspells. This could mean we might get Flusterstorm. Does this deck have Flusterstorm in it? It does. I'm going to wait one more turn then, especially with my opponent missing a land drop. I don't think it really hurts us to be hitting our land drop anyways, and that makes sense to me. All right, let's go pitch, pass, pass. I think I would rather hold open like hard cast negation than play top here. Also, we're opening ourselves to the possibility of responding to their powerful play with Brainstorm and looking to set up a trap. This is a Brainstorm with no fetch. Very clearly has no fetch since they missed land. So this could be Brainstorm locking themselves. Definitely possible. It's been an interesting, like, I don't like losing, right? But this has been an extremely interesting challenge so far. The matches have been very compelling and feel like we learned a lot of things, or at least got good reps in. So pretty happy actually, considering we are 1 and 2. Like I said, I'm gonna try to go 4-2. Keep it up. Yeah, I really like this deck. I ordered a bunch of cards for it. Should be fun. All right, my opponent is looking at what? Hard cast something. They're short on hard cast Atraxa. If they do go for something here, we have trap turned on, which is really, really nice. I'll probably lead with Brainstorm and see if I can hit a Flusterstorm or something as well. I'd love to get value out of my trap. Even minimal value off my trap is always really, really good. Even if you don't blow them out. Fetch. All right. Maybe they were worried about us having opposition agent. They did brainstorm into a fetch, so that's kind of interesting. All right, I will brainstorm in response to your Narset. How does that make you feel, opponent? I guess like if they have Fluster plus Force, we get kind of blown out, but oh, they got something. Fluster? All right. If they don't have Force as their last 2 cards, we end up really nice here. This is like the best use of Mindbreak Trap when you get to... They have a spell on the stack. You respond with Ancestral or Brainstorm. They respond with a counter. Wow. All right. Force Fluster was their last 2. So if we had another... Man. So if we had played our Sensei's top, we could have cracked, spun into blue card Force. Maybe a misplay from our part here. Can we pay for this Fluster, possibly? Ritual, fetch, hard cast Force. Please tell me what is wrong with that line. All right. Unfortunately, 1, 2... I'm actually 1 mana short of paying for this Fluster, right? I can Ritual up to 4 mana. Wow. So maybe the mistake here is I should have played my top. Because if we were able to spin top and find blue card and force their Force... All right, well, we didn't do any of those things, so we have to suffer. Our opponent is down to 0 cards, and they have a Narset, so it's not great, but we still have a hardcast negation on our next turn. We still have a top, so it's not bad either. That's only 6 turns of mana crypt damage for me. If it's any other player, it's probably like 12 turns, right? But for me, that is 6 turns. All right, let's see what they hit. If they hit Oath off of this, they hit Black Lotus. All right, so they have nothing. My opponent has nothing but 1 more Narset activation, so it's not a bad place to be. Do I need to fetch? No. Dig. That's a good one. So let's play our top out, and I have a hard cast negation or a dig. I wonder if we should just crack... Are we short? One, two, three, 4 cards in yard. We could Dark Ritual and then dig. No, it's probably fine. Might crack. Wait, why am I cracking ones? What is that preventing here? I don't know. That seems bad. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Okay. Yeah, the fact that they missed off of this Black Lotus helps us immense, or help. The fact that they missed their first Narset helps us immensely. There's also the thing that a lot of their hits are going to be oaths, and oath doesn't work until they have a orchard, so it's not even that big of a deal. Like I might not even counter an oath. They won their flip. They have one unknown. They activate their Narset. They find. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm not countering Oath of Druids if they cast Oath of Druids here. They found Mindbreak Trap. Okay. So they have unknown card plus Mindbreak Trap. And they have a Narset in play. So all of these things make it very hard for us to Doomsday kill our opponent, but not like so hard that we can't do it. We get to look. I wish I hadn't fetched. Then we could look like 6 times or whatever, but or set 9 times, I mean. They do have hard cast Mindbreak Trap for what it's worth, so it's likely that our like dig will end up getting countered at some point here. No, top could never be better than a cantrip. Stop that. Demonic Consultation Ponder. Setting up a console kill isn't the end of the world. Isn't the best thing, but it's not bad either. Well, I mean, I simply could have played my top and forced their force. I think it might have been a misplay. I'm gonna draw this. And then I'll probably... I don't know. I mean, I'm probably going to go for a dig through time, right? Well, maybe not. Maybe we want to draw the ponder, actually. So that I can go end of turn dig and pitch cast negation on Mindbreak Trap. I don't even want to pitch cast negation on Mindbreak Trap, though. This is fine. I think this is just fine. We go to their turn. We spin. We look for a better card. Notably, we can actually draw with our top on our opponent's turn because Narset is not Hull Breacher and draw a pitch cast negation. Though we can't cast dig through time until we fetch, so it's not ideal. I'm not sure. Like we theoretically can win with Tinker, Doomsday, or Console Kill. All of those are good. Our opponent's not really pressuring us. We don't have to make any play really. That I really don't want resolving though. They have Hardcast Trap back up. Should I draw the Ponder and negate it? The only downside of this line is at the end of it, I lose my top maybe. It's probably just fine. I'm like interested in casting dig this turn though. We're literally never, ever, ever, ever casting Demonic Consultation unless it's winning the game. I will never cast this card for a 4 of unless we're losing the game and have no other option. I have never, ever not died to my own console. All right, I mean, if we're getting the Mind Break Trap out of their hand, I think it's like pretty good use of negation. And then I'm just gonna fetch at the end of turn and look for do a look at the top cards and then try to find some kind of way forward. Like, yeah, if the only way to survive is to console for force, so be it. I will make the play. But all right, one card left in hand. Opponent can't really spin. Let's go to end step, fetch our last land. All right. And then we're going to look for a good card here, and then maybe we'll go digging. I wonder if we want to go like ritual digging, maybe. It kind of depends on what we draw here. They could technically have hard cast negation. They could have another mind break trap. They could have a blue card spin into a force. They could have Boseiju. Lots of stuff. Kind of an interesting game. Opponent had to do a lot of stuff, and I just wish maybe I had played the top so that we would have instantly won. All right, what do we have? Dark Ritual, Force, Repeal. These cards kind of suck, don't they? I guess we go Force on top, draw into Force, and then cast Ritual, Dig. I think we want to cast Ritual so that we don't have to use our other blue mana. Because if we just cast Dig, we have to just fully tap out, right? I'm not casting this console. You can't make me. And if this gets misstepped, it's super good for us too, so. So I actually don't need any of the cards in my yard. So I can just leave up some black floating mana and maybe cast Doomsday after this. Oh, I guess I can't draw into Repeal because there's an Narset in play. So that play was... I mean, I think I'm still making this play. But it's definitely less good. It does mean that if this gets countered, I can still hop into Repeal and Force on their turn if I need to. Looking at top. So Flusterstorm is not good enough. That's nice. Uh-oh. What do they draw? Force blue card? Force blue card. And they have a top on top. I think this is fine. The question is going to be, no, I'm just not casting Consult here. It's just a way we lose for no reason. I think Consulting for blue card is just bad. We have a blue card. We don't have any other blue cards that are 4-ofs. So I will not cast Demonic Consultation here. Anyone who casts Demonic Consultation here is way too lucky. Okay, so what we're gonna do is on our opponent's turn, we're gonna float our mana and then force their top and spin our top away and then cast Doomsday. I think. And then we just make a demonic Time Walk Doomsday pile. So that's my plan. Does mean we're literally never using this demonic consultation, but I think that's just fine. And I do think we're supposed to force their top. We don't even have to go Doomsday if we want. Wait, why did they F6? Are they not going to replay their top? Oh, okay. I think they were just too fast. Top. Draw. Why not consult for repeal with dig on the stack? Oh boy. There's a lot of things wrong with that statement. All right. I mean, we still have to, like, our opponent could still top deck Ancestral or Tinker, right? Like, we can still lose this game after casting Doomsday, but I think it looks pretty good. I can't actually make this. No, I can't. Sick. All right. We did end up never using our consult, but it's fine, I guess. So I have to make a stack here that is good against active Narset. Do I want to play around other possible cards? I don't think so. So my stack should just be Time Walk, Demonic, Oracle, Oracle. So I Time Walk on the first turn, which plays around Flusterstorm, and then I Demonic on the second turn, having drawn 2 cards and getting a third card, meaning 2 cards left in my library, and cast Oracle. So this pile beats Flusterstorm off the top. And then is there a better what's a good last card to include in this pile? Is there any good last cards to include in this pile? Probe is not very good with an Narset in play, so I would not want Probe. Can we Yogwill back an Oracle? Yeah, no, Probe is bad. Probe is actively bad. Because our plan is going to be Time Walk, Demonic, Oracle. There's 2 cards left. One's an Oracle, one is something else. Unfortunately, we can't will, and we can't draw cards. And I don't think a Flusterstorm is any value. If we make the last card Doomsday, we can go again. It's probably just Doomsday. Oracle instant win is losing to top deck Flusterstorm, and we have actual no reason to make our pile lose to top deck Flusterstorm, so we shouldn't do it. Also loses to Mental Misstep, so there's like a lot of cards that pile loses to, whereas this pile is not going to lose to those things. I'm going to go last card, Doomsday. Obviously, we're going to get shuffled, so it's a little annoying, but this is okay. So we're going to go done. And we're gonna go Doomsday on the bottom. Oracle, DT, Time Walk. Go. You can't consult at all. I have 5 cards in my library. This will exile my whole library. What did my opponent top deck? Beseiju? Oath. Okay, so they're dead. All right, so Time Walk. Demonic. Oracle, kill. I like how we played that game. I'm very happy with how we played this game. Not bad. Okay, here we go. Now we're on to round 5. We've got Montolio across the table. Powerful wizard, of course. I have a hand of, like, basically all restricted cards. But I don't have a mana source. And I don't think this is a willing... I'm not willing to keep this hand, unfortunately. So we're going to go and put this one back. I'm going to keep this one and roll with the punches here. This is a turn 1 Tinker, so... Just going to keep this hand and probably put back Pearl. Hopefully Andy doesn't hit me with the turn 1 Collector Roof or Chalice or No Rod. Though passing with 4 blue mana is also problematic in a lot of similar ways. This hand is obviously very powerful, but inherently risky. Lots of things can go wrong. Uh-oh. Yeah, that is what we were worried about. Classic Bug player has their companion Moxen. It's really, really brutal. How do they always have it, though? It's crazy. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine we win this game. Just a classic bug hand, really. Black Lotus Collector Roof every time. What am I really going to do? I'm going to keep my hand every time, so... Basically have to draw a triple land, probably. That's a good start. I don't have any answers besides repeal, so I have to hit more lands. And they probably tutored for either Ancestral or Wasteland. I'm just going to go Preordain for a Force or Misstep. Or land. Definitely just take a land. We can theoretically beat an Ancestral, so... Like, this hand still go... Like, if I draw land, repeal Collector Roof, I can still Tinker immediately. So there's, like, some reasonable upside there. They went for Wasteland. Brutal. I wonder if they demonic for Wasteland or they demonic for Ancestral and just had a Wasteland. It's really, really bad for us either way. God, they just had it. So their starting hand was Lotus, Demonic, Wasteland, Collector Roof. All right, whatever, man. You got me. I've been bested. I mean, without Force, I'm basically just never winning this game. Yeah, sometimes you get vintaged. I mean, they could still even have blue card Force in their hand after all of this. I'm just going to go Mystical for Ancestral and cast it on my turn and try all. I hope it works. And if this gets countered, I will just concede. Okay. All right. So, my opponent is probably on their own version because they typically change decks and brew their own version of the winning Duke 12 bug midrange list. So I'm expecting a very hard matchup. I think this is one of my absolute hardest matchups in the format. It's got 4 Collector Roof, 2 Bowmaster, 1 Hull Breacher, 1 Leovold, 2 Spell Pierce, 2 Negation, 4 Force of Will, 3 Force of Vigor. Basically one of the worst possible matchups we can come into. So gonna bring in Sphinx, and we're gonna trim down on artifact stuff. We're gonna try to lean into Doomsday a little bit heavier in this match. We're gonna want Dress Down, Fatal Push, Snuff Out. Maybe, yeah, probably Snuff Out. And then I'm not gonna play Negation Trap. And then I'm gonna trim Mana Crypt, Sensei's Top. Like we can tinker for Sphinx, we just won't have it as our primary plan. And I'm gonna take out like a Ruby. It's just like maybe at this point you don't even bring in Snuff Out, but maybe it's fine. Basically, I want to limit the power of Collector Roof here. So it's possible you board in like Opposition Agent, but I don't really like it. All they have is demonic fetches, right? It's not very good. Blocks, obviously, but immediately draw Tinker, and man, these hands are just no manas. Throw that back. No mana. I mean, what am I supposed to do here? I just can't seem to find a cohesive hand. No mana. Where are my free mulligans at? What is this? Well, I can't be mad at this because this is just magic. Is there any possibility of winning with this hand? Not really. All right. That's my best hand. Keep. Bottom. Bottom. Bottom? I don't know. It's all doomed. Mulling to 5 on the play is simply just not going to be good enough. Yo, thanks for the raid. These are just not the cards that are getting us to the place we need to be. Oh, we mulled a 4? Unlucky. I mean, all things considered, these draws have been quite good. Which one are we casting? Traditionally, the Doomsday here is stronger. However, we don't have a way to break the pile, and there is a Collector Roof, and they can Wasteland. If I build this pile, what the hell do I put in this pile? I put Ancestral on the top. I get Spell Pierced. I get Spell Pierced Wastelanded. Like my pile has to be like lands and Ancestral and Oracles. And maybe that's good enough. No. I don't know. I'm gonna draw at least 12. 7 cards. This hits me down to 10. Yeah, this is the number I want. I gotta think. I mean, this looks great. This looks like a great set of cards. I think I can just get rid of Dress Down and go. Well, no, I can't get rid of Dress Down because I won't be able to use this Lotus. I guess I could theoretically just pitch the Lotus and play with normal mana, but I have a Dress Down. Now, I can't win the same turn that I Dress Down, obviously, but I can do other stuff. I think the repeal is worse. Though I could theoretically just go end of turn repeal on this Collector Roof, which might even be better. If I just get rid of this dig through time, the dig might be actually good too. But I mean, I have Necro, so I don't really need a dig through time. But I mean, theoretically, I'd like to try to win on the next turn, right? What does winning on the next turn look like? I also agree. I could, in theory, completely ignore Oof. The deck is pretty good at that. We can also get Wastelanded, which would be pretty bad. I think I like the idea of like pass, end of turn, Dress Down. If they like hold open all their mana, oh no. Strip Mine is so bad for us. Yeah, I mean, I think all your plans have to be cognizant of the fact that you can get multiply wastelanded. I think the answer is just going to be play Misty, play Lotus, fetch, and pass. End of turn Dress Down, set us up for the most possible mana to go for Doomsday kill. And then we obviously need to time walk in our pile and lose my Dress Down, which is fine. That's like, I think that's the plan. It's gonna be quite the thinker though. I don't really see a compelling way to win the game right now, right? So I think I just like drawing up to 7 and then down to 5 and then down to 4, down to 2. Yeah. 7, 5. Well, it kind of depends on if we... I could theoretically also Dress Down end of turn and then repeal using my Lotus. I could Dress Down Dark Ritual Doomsday right now. I just don't think that's better. I'm not sure if drawing 1 or drawing 2 is correct because we go to 6. It might just be draw 1. Drawing 3 seems bad because if we draw 3, we go to 6, we go to 4, we go to 1, and we can't force, which is the same if we draw 2. So I think we're just drawing 1 because we can go to 6, and we can go to 3, and we can go to 1. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We They put us to 6. Oh, okay, you're right. We draw 3. And then we go. But what if we have to force beforehand? We go to 5, and then we go. I guess that's still fine. No, sorry. We would go if we had the force beforehand. We go to 5. We go to 3, and then we go to 1, and we don't have second force abilities. If I go to 6, if I go to 5, it's kind of bad. If I don't go to 5, I kind of want to draw one more, go to 5 and use force, go to 4. But then I don't get to use force. Sorry, if I go to 5, if I draw one more here, I'm at 7. I go to 5, and then I would go to 2. Yeah, I'm just gonna do what I thought. I'm just gonna draw 2, max out my hand here, and then pass. I think they maybe have Spell Pierce. They could have Bowmaster as well. That would be super bad for me. Yeah, they have Bowmaster. So I go to 6. And then I go to 2, and I can't force back up. I can dress this down right now, and then repeal the Collector Oof, and then force the Collector Oof. But then I don't have a way to break my pile, possibly. And I do need to win through a Bowmaster pile. I think I have to just force this. Because if I do fluster, if I dress this down and then I repeal the Collector Oof, that puts me at 2 more cards in hand. I'm still at 7. I get hit to 6. I force Collector Oof possibly down to 5. I get attacked to 4. Ritual Doomsday down to 2, and then I can't do draw cards. So I think I just need to force this, which is really bad for me. But it's something. Dark Ritual is bad. Mental Misstep is not really good either. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm very much in losing this game. I don't even have a way to break my Doomsday pile, so I have to, like, I draw a card. I might not even be able to dress down end of turn anymore. I might have to just wait on this dress down as a way to break my pile, which seems just incredibly bad for me. The good news is I actually can beat a Spell Pierce, but if they play like another hate piece, I do have to dress down and hope to draw a way to break into my pile. And they have to have nothing else. There's so many things. Was this my Moldifor? Necro saved the day, maybe? I mean, I cut Necro and I regretted it immediately. So Necro is like the reason we're in this game, and I think Necro is definitely worth a spot. I just have to dress down on my turn to break my pile and just hope it works. I also just need to build a pile with Time Walk. So it's gonna be tough. Don't know how we're doing it. I can cast this Mental Misstep because I don't have a force anymore. So there's a world where we win this turn, but there's also a world where we like they have any other magic card and we lose. So, but I mean, honestly, not that bad. This matchup, like we've hit like a very, very, very tough gauntlet of decks for Doomsday. Like you really want to play against mono white. I guess if they have hard cast negation, we simply can't do anything besides a Doomsday Pass pile. In which case we would die. If it's flustered, it stays. All right, well, I don't know if we have enough mana at this point, but I'm just gonna oh, I can't Dark Ritual off of this. I need to Dark Ritual off of that. Fuck. So if I let this go and I Dark Ritual, I okay. What are my outs? Because I can't cast Dark Ritual, Doomsday, and pass, I'll die. I could theoretically let this happen and Necro 3 cards looking for Fatal Push. Cast, Dress Down, and Gush. How do you want me to fucking do that? just next turn? Just go to 2 and do it? Might be. Might be. I mean, at that point, I want to draw at least one, right? Well, no. If I go to 2, I can theoretically still draw... Gosh, exactly? Is it better for me to just draw 1 and try to find Fatal Push? No. I don't know. I mean, I can't fight over this, so it doesn't really matter. Is it better? I think it's better for me to draw 1 for Fatal Push than to Dress Down for Gush. I mean, we can still draw with Dress Down, though. What is it? They have another Bowmaster? We were never winning this game. Okay. This new version of Bug is just so good against Doomsday. Okay. We put up a pretty good fight there, considering we rolled the 4 on the play. Or maybe we were on the draw. I don't remember. Oh, I don't think that's a reason to be off of Doomsday. Doomsday is still the best deck in the format by a large margin. I wouldn't stop playing Doomsday because there are some bad matchups. Like this deck doesn't really exist. This deck is 1% of the metagame. We played against 2 decks today that were extremely good against Doomsday that were 1% of the metagame. It's just not lucky, which is fine. And also this deck is like particularly good against my deck because it has Collect Roof, right? That is an interesting statement to make, as I think you are extremely favored versus mono white. Like 60+%. All right. Not much to do there. That was gate 4, rolling into 4 on the draw, and we almost pulled it off, but that deck is really, really tough for us to beat. All right, 6th and final round of this vintage challenge. We're up against Tunnelgon. My hand has 5 mana sources. It's a lot more than mana sources than my other hands have had. Okay. What are we doing here? I see that emote. I don't know. Whatever. Emotes are too hard. Ah, shit, it resolved, man. I wasn't ready for it to resolve. I don't know. Ancestral, Black Lotus. What if we get Wasteland? It doesn't matter? No? Should we lead Probe? Probe, Ancestral, Black Lotus. Okay, I draw Probe down to 4. I mean, that loses unless I then force Oracle. Sure. Whatever. I'm over it. That's what we're doing. Sure hope this doesn't go badly. I'm going to probe them, and it's going to be like Mindbreak Trap, Wasteland, turn 1 Lavinia. Pass. It doesn't cast Soul Breacher, so that's good. All right, opponent, show me your secrets. So if they have a Mindbreak Trap, they have a negation, a Lavinia. This is the stupidest deck of all time. It literally can never cast its spells. My God. So I can't even wait on this negation. So if my opponent doesn't top deck Fetch Land White Source, we win. It's entirely based on if my opponent top decks Fetch Land White Source and plays Lavinia before we can draw and play our Black Lotus. What a fun game. All right. They negate this, and then Oh, they pitched Lavinia! You fool! Don't we just win now? We just win now, right? Unless they draw Force. Oh God, they're not even playing Narset. That means they drew it, right? That means they drew a counterspell? Whatever, I don't care anymore. Oracle. Oh, Echoing Truth Fassa is fine. We win the game. What the fuck are you talking about, chat? What is chat on about? Why didn't we wait till upkeep? Because if I cast Ancestral with 3 cards in my library in my opponent's upkeep, I will lose the game when I draw from a 0-card library. Chat. This is what happens when we stream Doomsday, man. Every time. I got off my stream, what was it, last weekend when we top aided? And Nyx like looked at me and she was like, "You look dead. You look like you were ready to go to bed right now." Because we were going to like some party or something. And I was so drained. Wait. I have time to buy a I'm getting a beer. I'm getting a beer. Oh, excuse me. I'm getting better at this deck though, so I'm able to interact with chat as normal. So that's nice. What are we playing against? We're playing against, oh yeah, we're playing against 4 Mindbreak Trap Esper Initiative Tinker. Classic. Classic Tunnel Gone. If I were them, I would have cast Narset and tried to draw Force of Will with it. We couldn't beat that. Wait, 2 Lavinia, 1 Hull Breacher, Knight of Infamy, 4 main deck Mindbreak Trap. God bless. Are we even supposed to bring in negation against this deck? Doesn't even look good. I don't even want to bring in like Snuff Out. They don't even have Archon of Emeria or anything. God, I hate my I really just like don't like the stupid Initiative Tinker deck. No, nothing against Tunnel Gone, but let's just do this for now. Well, yeah. To be fair, we had a Force of Will in our hand, so if my opponent lets the Ancestral resolve, then I draw Force of Will, go Lotus Oracle, and win. If my opponent counters it, they can pitch Lavinia, which is like the single best card against me. So I cast the Ancestral, baited a negation, and I got the Lavinia out of their hand. It was quite good. I needed the negation to go away so that I could play my Lotus the next turn too. It all went as intended. Let's just keep mulliganing these hands again. Aha, this hand slaps. Keep. Bottom. Done. God, this hand slaps. You just need to play around 4 Mindbreak Traps, chat. That's the thing. Don't let me play into Mindbreak Trap. Please. The deck plays 4 in the main. I sure hope this works. Island Pearl Lavinia. How much we draw in chat? How much we drawing? Oh, let's draw a lot. I like going to 10. 10 is the number that I've given to myself. Not 10 cards, but I like drawing down to 10 life. I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's just the number I've been vibing with. Man, Necro's been pretty good recently. Okay. All right. Okay. So don't need an emerald. And don't need a dress down. Well, I need a dress down if they play a second Lavinia out of the 2 Lavinias in their deck. Let's simply lose instead. And then Oracle's fine. I'm okay with keeping Oracle. I don't think we need top. I was just gonna get rid of like off-color Moxen, top, and dress down, and then just keep this cards. I think that's fine. Like this Thassa's Oracle like could very easily be converted into Oracle Consult, right? Any tutor gets us the Oracle Consult with a lot of mana. Do we care about them needling our Necropotence? We might. Yes. I mean, we have Ancestral Ponder. If we like misstep and then they Ancestral, isn't it like way worse? I'm surprised they have a needle in their deck, considering it hits very few things. I guess it hits Sensei's top if they know my deck list. Maybe they know my deck list. Ah, I knew it. I knew it was bait. I just knew it was bait. I'm so smart, man. Why don't I listen to myself? I should just listen to myself. I should never second doubt myself. Second guess myself. I just knew. I knew they had an Ancestral. They gonna hardcast Citadel? Oh, Vault Key. All right, well, I think they're on we win here, so let's try winning. All right, we have to remember about Mindbreak Trap, though. I guess they have hardcast Mindbreak Trap, so we don't really have any way of actually beating it. I'm gonna play Black Lotus, and then I'm gonna cast Ancestral targeting myself. All right, this should be winning. So if they don't have anything, we can vamp for Oracle Consult and use Probe to draw into it. If they don't have anything, we could probe first and use Ponder. If we make triple blue here, so we should be able to probe anyways. They have hard cast negation. All right, so in that case, we just go. Dark Ritual, Yogg-Will, get it countered, and then go. I think we just go crack everything. Dark Ritual, Yogg-Will, it gets countered. Vamp for Lotus Oracle. Crack Lotus for black, crack for blue, Dark Ritual, Yogg-Will, all of our black. Leaves us with triple blue and black. That doesn't have enough. So that's bad. So we could theoretically... Huh. So instead, we could vamp Ponder for... If we cast Dark Ritual... Well, I need triple blue because I need to cast Ponder to draw and Oracle for... Like, to do this full combo, I need triple blue. But, yeah, because this pays for itself. So I'm 1 mana short of baiting with Yogg-Will and then going Vamp Ponder. So... I can go... I mean, I could also pass. I could also just go Lotus, Black, Dark Ritual, Vamp, Fluster, Ponder for Fluster, maybe. And then I'm just using my cards in my yard. That's probably fine. If I go Dark Ritual, Bam, Fluster, Ponder. Yogwill. And then I can just vamp and draw into console kill. Should be fine. Because I get the buyback Black Lotus, Lotus Petal, Dark Ritual. So feels good, man. I love Yogwill. Yogwill should be in everyone's deck. Yogwill slaps. Yogwill is like, hey, I see you're playing the good cards. Would you like to play the good cards again? And then you play the good cards again, and your opponent dies. It's a good time. Highly recommend. Man, Yogwill is so sick. All right. Black Lotus, Lotus Petal, Black Mana, Dark Ritual, vamp it down to 1 for Consult, blue, Ancestral, into Consult, Oracle, Consult. Let's go! That was fun. That was a good time. All right. Not actually a bad showing. We went 3-3. And we played against Esper Lurrus, which was tough. And then we played against... What was this one? Was this like Initiative Tinker or something? I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was like Lavinia, right? Esper Lurrus, Lavinia, Initiative Tinker with Lavinia, Breach, Tinker, Show and Tell, Bug, and then another Esper Lavinia thing. So we played against what? 3 Lavinias, 1 Collector Oof, 1 Brain Freeze, and I would say the Show and Tell matchup's probably pretty good. So I think we played against maybe 1 matchup I would say is very good, and then 3 blue matchups that are 4 blue matchups that are hard, and then 1 matchup that's bad. All things considered, we still ended up going 3-3. So we've gone, what, 4-2, 4-3, and 3-3, which I guess is, in the end, not that impressive, right? It's 8-11 wins, and then 8 losses. 8 out of 19. Sorry, no, 11 out of 19. It's like just slightly above 50%. So that's not super compelling, but 10th, 8th, and then top 32, I guess. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Yeah. So Dig Through Time was pretty good today, right? I feel like we won a bunch of games because of Dig Through Time. There was like one time where we couldn't cast it, but whenever you can't cast it, you just pitch it to Force. There was one time we hit it off of Citadel, but it was still fine off of Citadel. Repeal, I'm not sure, was particularly good today. The Dress Down seemed like it was a good addition. I think I'm going to swap this opposition agent back out for a Shieldred. We didn't play against any mono white, so there was really no instance where we would play Virtue's Ruin. And we didn't play against any shop, so there was no instance we would play against Hurkyl's Recall. We played against no jewel shops at all. I still think 3 top is the right number. I like having some preordains, so 2 preordains has been fine. 2 Flusterstorm has also been a good number. I think when you play more than 2 Flusterstorm, you run into some problems. Well, the idea is that we have the ability to play cards that normal Doomsday can't. So normal Doomsday can't really play Hurkyl's Recall over Steel Sabotage in most situations, and normal Doomsday can't really play Virtue's Ruin over Dismember or Cut Down or in most situations. But because we have extra colorless mana, I think it makes a lot of sense for us to have the Merchant Scroll Hurkyl's Recall target and have the ability to do a full board wipe against mono white, that kind of thing, right? That's my logic anyways. So we didn't play against any Bazaar, so we didn't bring in any of these cards, and we didn't bring in Virtue's Ruin. We didn't bring in Hurkyl's. And we didn't even bring in Negation and Traps very often because we didn't play against any hard combo. We played against like all like soft mid-rangey combo decks. Absorbent 3 hit the 4-2? That's pretty sick. They were 3-1 at one point as well. 4-2. Well, what happened here? Sandy Dog must have just timed out. I mean, you take these. You definitely take these. Okay, that's it for me. There will be more content coming for this kind of thing. This right now is my front runner deck for Buffalo Chicken Dip Vintage and Eternal Weekend and the Winter Four Seasons. If at some point I decide that this Tinker version is making the deck substantially worse, then I will, switch over to the normal Doomsday. I bought the cards for both, so I can play either. Personally, I enjoy this Tinker version a lot more. I think you get a little bit more versatility, some more power, and at the loss of some consistency. And I think top has just been outstanding Magic cards, so pretty happy for that. So more vintage content on the YouTube channel Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'll see you then.